My name is Jason Ntaro. I am a poet, performance poetry. I do training of performance poetry as well. I teach poetry, written poetry. I also do storytelling for children. I was born in Uganda to a man who was in the bush. So we had to run a lot because they were coming after the family a lot. So from Uganda, we moved to Kenya. Then from Kenya, we moved to the Netherlands. And then we grew up from there and came back to Uganda. I'll be honest and say that I didn't really know much of my identity until when we came back to Uganda. Because there we were moving from place to place, house to house. So we didn't really have any home that we could say this is home. Yeah. So even friends, I didn't really have many friends, would keep on moving all the time. So I can't say that my identity was formed while I was a child. It's much later on when I was an adult, when I started to now question more about myself and who I am. And that's when I started doing poetry, when I started asking all of these questions. And that's when I started to now start to dig in deep to find out more about myself. Because I remember even when we came back to Uganda, I refused to learn any local language because in my head, I thought that me doing that would reduce my level of being a human being. Because in Holland, they looked at black people as, little, racism and all those things. So even me, when I came back here, learning a local language, I'm like, no, I don't want to be like them. I cannot. So it's only later on now after secondary school, and I started to be more interested in, So even when people would come to me and they were speaking like Luganda, I would be like, I don't want to be among these people. I don't want to be around people who speak English. So I had a very warped idea of what being an African was. Because even on the TV, everything that you would watch on TV would be of starving kids in Africa, diseases, kwashako, AIDS, malaria, what. So everything, even it's either war, everything is destroyed. It just had such a negative image that we had in our heads as children of Africa. It's just when we came back that we now start to realize all of the benefits of being within your own home. So I'll speak from childhood in Holland, some of the few things I remember, and then some of here. So Holland is a place where people usually use bicycles. So every kid knows how to ride a bicycle. Every kid knows how to swim. Every kid knows how to ice skate and things like that. Snow, sledging and all of those things. So the games that we used to play, like if it's in summertime, we'd play marbles, which is a little bit like duel. But this one, you don't do this. This one, you just throw and then you just keep on doing like this. That's how it was. Then other games, most outdoor games would be things like, they had what they used to call the Groteplein and the Kleineplein. The Groteplein was a big space for children to play, for adults. Then the Kleineplein was for the young children to play. So there were separate places. So we'd go there, ride bicycles, be on those monkey bars, swings and things like that. But then when we came to Uganda, things changed. We saw everything was completely different. People playing in the dirt, you're like, what is this? Games were different, everything, it took a while for us to get to know even our neighbors and everything. But the games that we started to play, when we started to now get to know our neighbors, would be games like Duel, Kwepena, Hide and Seek, Tapo. Which other games? Those are the major games that we would play. Those are the major games. Skipping, swinging from trees, games like that. Yeah, those are the games that we used to play. And today, yes. I would like for these games to keep on, being played. There's something that he had said about motor skills. So in Holland, in school, during playtime, they had, it was like a wire, which was curved and curved and curved. And it had a small electrical thing going through it. It couldn't shock you. And it had small plastic places. So you had like a hook wire, which you had to take it around like this, moving to make sure it doesn't touch. And if it touches, it buzzes. Bzz. So there were those kinds of games, which I think are very, very important, as he was saying, because it helps you to think ahead and stuff like that. Then also the games of like tapo, skipping, all those games, they're very, very necessary. One, it's good for your health, obviously, your mental health, also for your physical health, for skipping and doing those things. Then my train of mind has sorry. But yeah, so it's very important for these kids to, because right now, as everybody has already told you, kids are very stuck on their mobile phones, and we can't blame them per se, you know, because even parents now have to go to work, and they can't afford to have a nanny and all of those things. So what can they do? It's like, you play with this thing. So it ends up making the child become antisocial. But the child might be learning some things, but then also the things that the child is learning have to be questioned. You know, there are also those games. I don't know, I hear people talking about Roblox is very bad for children. I don't know, it's a kid's game, but I don't know anything about it. But I'm heard that it's really, really bad and what. So if right now, I feel like there is a chasm between, how can I explain it? Human nature is supposed to be together. But right now, it feels like there is a gap in between. Huh? Even I was with my nieces and nephews a few weeks ago, and I was talking with them about how they played, because they're from Canada, and they were explaining how they're playing and this and that, and they have a lot of thing about boundaries. Don't touch me. Don't what? Don't this. Don't that. And for me, as a person from Uganda, I felt like this is weird. You know. We touch all the time, we hug, we watch, hold hands, guys and girls hug. So it felt very, very strange that now we're moving from that time of touch to now no touch. And I understand that parents might be, you know, looking after their kids because of weird people. But if they're kids playing, I mean, if they have their 5-year-old child and a 5-year-old child there, let them play. Play in the dirt, play what, do all the things that you need to do. So it's very important for us to go back to those ways of playing and then also incorporate it with what we have today. Yeah, because we cannot stop progression. Progression has to happen. It's never going to end. So as we progress, we have to be mindful of how it affects our children and the children to come. And us as adults, it's our responsibility, it's our job. You know, it's something that has been handed down to us from our foreparents and all before. As you grow older, it's your responsibility to take care of those ones who are below you. So many times people, and I will not lie, even me, I've been there when I say, but these young kids, they're useless, you know? And I don't say it, and when I'm saying that, it's because I'm not looking at them from their perspective. I'm looking at them from my perspective and how I grew up. And I also remember when we were young, we used to always be angry at adults who say, in my days. Now I am the same person saying, in my days. You see, so we have to be responsible for these kids, enjoy their presence, and then also make sure that we get them to play all of these games that we used to play, and then watch what they're doing to make sure that what they're doing doesn't have a very negative effect on them. Also, kids are very weak these days. A small scratch, oh my God, I'm going to die. Yeah. For breaking bones and what right now? Because I remember when we were young, when we were kids, I remember our neighbors, almost every week you'd find someone with like a broken leg, a broken hand, a broken this. Now you never see a kid in a cast anywhere. You're like, what? What are they doing? Yeah, now everybody has allergies. I'm allergic to light and dust. And yes, we're living in dust. We moved to the Netherlands. I was born in Uganda. Then when I was still a baby, that's when we went to Kenya. So from Kenya to the Netherlands, I was about like 4 years old. 4 years old. Then we came back to Uganda and I was in P6. Yeah. I've never been a person who attaches dates to things. It's never been in my head. Okay. I don't know. Because, okay, there's a lot in it. When we were brought up, there are a lot of things that we had to even our names, we had to change our names, a lot of things. Huh? So holding on to like friendships, holding on to people and things like that, we didn't have those things. So remembering dates and activities, for me, it's a miss.
Yeah.
I am an adult now. So the games I play, Hide and seek for adults. No. Anyway, let me see. Games that I play. Well, evenings, activities and games. I have some friends of mine who we meet up with during weekends. We go and we play basketball, we swim. Outside of that, we also play board games, chess, drafts, omweso, which is a game that we learned when we came back here. Very, very nice game. Let me see, what else? Karaoke, is that a game? It's an activity. It's an activity. So karaoke. Then also, like when I'm with friends who are poets, you know, when we're together, we do things like freestyles, writing together, small performances and things like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I remember the first time I was told about this story of the ogre. It's a Chiganda story for children of an ogre that comes and it takes children, and then someone has to come and cut its stomach open so that they can get it out. There's even a song. There's a song about it. I can't remember the song.
You know the song? Yeah, about the one that cuts, where they cut open of the monster.
And then they get back the children. Yeah, so those kind of storytelling, I think that those are things that would be important. At first, when you hear it, you think, oh my God, this is such a bad story. Why are they telling children about animals coming and eating you if you're awake at night or if you're doing bad things? But then there's a moral behind it. They're trying to guide you in life. And then even now at the end, after the thing has eaten you, a parent, an adult comes and cuts open the stomach and gets back the child. So it's not like the child is taken and taken and taken forever. No, it has a positive ending to it. Yeah, the child has now learned its lesson. Good, now move forward. So I feel like we need more of those kind of stories that are told to our children, you know? And then also stories that tell us of our own stories. Instead of us knowing about Cinderella and all of those things, you know? It would be nice for us to have stories about what we know. Like when your mother was talking and the things she was telling us, and you know, there's things that we were learning. Even when Sasha was speaking, there were things she was saying, and I was learning new things. Like, wow, this is new. So those things I think would be something that we need to preserve, and we can't take away the fact that as Africans we have an oral tradition. Yeah, we don't usually write, so it would be good if we could now get those stories, yeah, of past. We wake them up, put them in books, make audios, even videos of someone old reading it or telling a story or something like that, so that we have even archives. I think that would be something that would be very, very, very important.
Yeah.
I'll start with social media. The strange thing about it is that social media makes it seem like it's, you know, social media. We're all in this thing together. But then you'll realize that right now, as opposed to before, when people had friends and you know the person's phone number in your head, you have like 15 different phone numbers in your head, you know, all of those things. You could just, anyway. So, but now you can't because of all of the technology and all that. So I feel like it's, okay, I've mixed like 5 different points in one, so I'm going to now start afresh. No, but anyway, just to continue. Yeah. I feel like things like memory are going to be affected along the way. Memory, recall is going to be affected because of how people can just easily just go on the internet. Things like calculating mathematical equations. You can just put the thing in the internet, and then you get the answer. So things like that, critical thinking, I feel, is slowly by slowly being winnowed out, and we're giving in to the machine. Before you know it, there will be an end of the world. Anyway, but so there's that. Then when I was talking about social media and how it seems like it's all embracing, you'll find that there are very many people who wake up in the morning, first thing they do is they go on the phone. Before you know it's already lunchtime, they're still there on the phone. So now they haven't made any real interactions with people. They've just been looking at videos, maybe responding to one thing, and they'll feel like, I have many friends. And yet in reality, they don't actually have people who are there for them. So I feel like that's also another thing that needs to be checked. Because I remember those days when we were kids, we used to have fences, not walls, fences and then trees. But as kids, we used to break the fences and then we'd run, go to the other house, and go to the other house, and we'd play. It became like a whole thing, like a community. Today, walls, computers, mobile phones, TVs, and you're good. That's how it is right now, which is very, very sad because children don't have friends. And if they don't have friends, then what are they going to do? Yeah, because we can't say I'm going to rely on my friends on the internet. If you have friends who are from the UK and you have a situation right here, right now, what are you going to do? You see, yeah? So I feel like that is something that has changed to the negative. But then also to the positive is that it has made information more available, which is a good thing. As everything is, there's a good and a bad side to everything. Yeah. I would say more community engagement, where you have both old and young mixing together. I was reading a paper where they were talking about a place in, I can't remember where, Senegal? I can't remember where they have parks, which they call, I think, elder parks, where old people just sit and then young people can come and have conversations with them. And that way, now, you start to learn from the adults, from these are now older people. You start to learn from the elderly. Then also you as a young person, you're engaging with them, telling them about things, stuff like that. So I'd envision something that has that kind of setup. Then also a place that would allow someone to have a space to learn, to read, to write, to express, platforms for artists who can dance, music, poetry, places, small playpen for children where they can go and do all of the things. If it's painting, if it's building things, if it's reading, it's being told storytelling, all of those things. So if we could have that in a space, I think it would be really, really, really nice. First one would be the first time I lost my teeth. I was racing my sister on a bicycle. And then I looked behind, and then when I looked back, there was a bridge. And so I hit the hand railing of the bridge. Bah! There was water rushing from a canal, but I landed in front and hit my teeth. And then they went inside. So my sister came, and she was bandaging me with her scarf, and there was blood. So these white people were just looking and passing. And my sister was trying to get me to help, but then she was like, okay. So she tied it up, put me on the front of her bicycle and rode me home. Cha, 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 cha. Yeah. So why I would put that in my museum is because that was one of my first experiences of seeing how just because of color and things like that, people will treat you very badly. And I learned that as a child. Yeah. And then also, secondly, I learned that if you're there with someone who loves you, who cares for you, they will do what they need in order for you to get better. And that was my sister getting me, carrying me, putting me on the bicycle and carrying me and taking me. So that moment in itself, I would capture that one and put it in in there. Now, the other one would be what I was telling you guys about when we came back and I ate that banana. That was the first fruit I ate, and it was really beautiful. Then I remember I was looking for a dustbin. I kept asking, where's the dustbin? Where's the dustbin? And people were laughing. Everyone around was laughing. So you just throw. Because in Holland, you can't just throw. And here we have soil, so everything can, it regenerates and all of that. So that moment of learning Africa, then going home and seeing this setup of food and community, people coming together and that's another moment that I would put. The third would be the first time that I was invited for a poetry conversation at the National Theatre. This was a group of people called the Lantern Meet of Poets. So a friend of mine called Guy Mambo. He's like, hey, we have this poetry thing, come. And I went. Before that, I didn't like poetry. I used to think poetry was for guys to get girls or for girls only. But poetry. So when they introduced me to it, that is actually when my life completely turned. Because before that, I was a very wild human being. I used to drink a lot. I used to do drugs, a lot of bad nonsense. But as I started to write, I started to now write about my personal things, yeah? And that was helping me to like cure myself from all of this negativity that I'd held so much, I'd made it so tight and put it inside there and hidden it inside there. But now I was starting to learn to open up. So that's why my first poem was a poem on domestic violence, because it's something that I've seen. Then most of the poems have been, even people used to say, Jason, you write Jasonic poetry. That's what they labeled it, because my poetry was always dark, very dark, about death, about, just ratchet shit things. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so poetry helped me to come out of my shell and helped me to now make real, honest friendships. Before, the friendships were just, hey, that guy, we're going in, hey, we'll get drinks. If you're with this one, hey, you'll get this. But now it was about real awakening of a sense of self. Yeah. Nobody's wise. Everybody is learning. Yeah. Full stop.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Very different from a lot of our things.
All of you guys are actually.
Her first lullaby was the sound of the chariots passing by, with Mama looking deep into her large eager eye, praying that her child's sealed fate would someday loosen. Her first lullaby was the sound of the chariots passing by, with Mama looking deep into her large eager eyes, praying that her child's sealed fate would loosen. And now already with 2 children lost to malnutrition, she brings another into this lost nation where there is no warm welcome for a mother and her child. And yes, he's well studied, and so is she. But poverty knows no boundaries, just like they know no connections. Frustration, the perfect illustration of the nucleus of a nation run by corruption, killing its own creation. Little baby now is 2. She's barely able to walk, but she has seen more than those Kololo-dwelling folks. Now with calluses on her knees, she's befriended dirt and disease, comfortable with this ease because she knows no better. And so now with his last shilling, Daddy buys the paper and seeks for a way to find his future. But there is no dwelling for a poverty-stricken mediocre. So he sits back and waits and sees what will happen next. And now the drinking becomes stronger. The drinking becomes stronger. The drinking becomes stronger, tickling his fist, move and strike. But he knows that that is not right. And now muffled sounds of body versus body echo through the house. Mother's wails and papa's cries. Now little girl's new lullaby. And amidst little Precious's cries, she embraces this reality that's being fed to her through her liquefied eyes. And mama is now here trying to conceal her pain being fed to her through this once green and lush Eden, and takes in all of this from this one bloody cold season. You see, pain is inevitable when it rains, and yet the skies are cloudy.